So in the last session, we created up to the AMI, right? Okay, let me open that. So what we have done in the last session is we created one temporary EC2 instance and we installed all the required components to host a WordPress application. And we installed or we configured a default WordPress application also. And then we created the AMI because that AMI we will use to create your auto scaling group, launch template, and all the things. Right? Okay, so first thing we will go with the launch template. In the document, I configured like a launch configuration, which is the old concept. Now you can use a launch template. Both are for the same purpose, but we can use launch template instead of the launch configuration. And using that launch template, we will create auto scaling group. This one, so that auto scaling group will create all your web servers in the target group. Automatically, your web servers will be added into the target group. What exactly we will include in the launch template and the launch configuration are, so if you see the steps to create a launch configuration, the same components we will include in the launch template also. So let me go to the launch configuration here. We will mention what is the AMI to be used and what is the instance type, purchasing option, whether it's a basic monitoring or a detailed monitoring, EBS volume size, the root volume size, security group, and the key pair. These are the things we will include in the launch configuration or launch term. Then in AutoScale group, we will select which template to be included and in which VPC the instances to be created and in which subnets and those instances to be added in which target group. Then we have to define the group size, minimum how many you need, maximum how many you need, and all the things. And then you have to define a scaling policy. Like whenever the CPU is more than 60%, automatically the two instances will become a 3, 4, and so on up to 6. Whenever there is no instance, whenever there is no load or less than 60%, the instances will be reduced like from 6 to 5, 4 up to 2. And even there is no load, minimum 2 instances will be running. Whenever a new instance is getting created or getting deleted, I would like to receive a notification on this email ID. So here we are using SNS. And then all your web servers must get a kind of a tag. I will use two different tags. One is a name is going to be the web server. And the second one, I will use like web server, the backup ES. If you are planning to create a lifecycle policy to create automated snapshots, we need a common tag, right? So you can use anything, but for meaningful tag, I will use a backup yes, or you can say production yes, or anything you can use it. Then just we can log into the application and we can create some posts to check the data consistency and all the things. So first, let us go with the creation of our launch template or a launch configuration. So to do that, we have to go to the EC2 service. Before creating the launch template, let us verify the temp EC2 instance is available or not, because yesterday we deleted it. And we will verify the AMI also, because the AMI is mandatory, right? Using that AMI, your web servers will be created. If you use a default AMI, you don't get your application, because the default AMI, no platform or no data will be available as per your requirement. Okay, let me go to the EC2 service first. And let us confirm that there is no temporary EC2 instance running. And we have the availability of the AMI which we created from the temporary EC2 instance. See here, there is no temporary EC2 instance, only VPN server and a management server. Then I will go to the AMIs. You can see the AM, WordPress image. This is the one which we created in the yesterday's session. It was created on February 28th. Okay, to create the launch template from the same EC2 service under instances, you can see an option called launch template. Go to the launch template and click on create launch template. You can use some name. So I will use the same name, but instead of a launch config, I will use launch template. Then template version description. You can use any description. I can say it will deploy the WordPress version 1, because every time your developers will give you some different things, right? So that you can maintain as a different versions. That is the advantage. You can maintain multiple versions of the same template. Okay, and this we are creating this launch template for the auto scaling, right? So here, if I select this one, it will display what are the mandatory fields to create a launch template for the auto scale. If I don't select this one, you don't know how many of these options, how many are mandatory and how many are optional, right? See here, the first one, application and OS images. We don't know whether it is a mandatory or an optional. But whenever you select this checkbox, it will display that the application image AMI is a mandatory for the auto scaling template. So select that so that it will give you some guidance. Then here, go to my AMIs and select your AMI from the drop down. But we have only one. That's why we can select only the one. Then instance type. Do we need to select the instance type? Is it a mandatory? No, because see here. Is it mandatory or not? Yes. So here, instance type, I will select T3.large key pair. I will select web server key pair. Okay, first network. Is it a mandatory network? How to know that is, to create an instance, network is a mandatory. That network must be mentioned either in the launch template or auto scaling group, right? So as per this document, we are going to mention the network in the auto scaling group. That's why no need to mention the VPC or network in the launch template. But in the launch configuration, there is no option that you can select a network. So here I don't include this in the launch template because I'm going to mention the subnet in the auto scaling group. Now security group. Do we need to select the security group? Yes. Security group is a part of a launch template or a launch configuration. So here I will select existing security group, and from the drop down, I will select web server-sg. Then EBS volumes. Here you can see there is already one volume attached, right? What is the size of the volume? Why it is a 60 GB? Because our temp instance size is a 50 GB only. But at the time of creating the AMI, we defined that the minimum size of the disk must be 60 GB. That's why automatically it will be selected as a 60 GB. So do we need to mention that? Yes. That is a part of a launch template. And scroll down, and if you need multiple volumes, you can add new volume, and you can add a new volume also, like 10 GB, 100 GB, like a D drive, E drive, and all the things. Resource tags. Do we need to mention the tags here? Where we are mentioning the tags? In the launch auto scaling group, there is an option. That's why I will ignore this resource tags. Then go to advanced details. If you select this checkbox, the instance will become a spot. But we need on demand, so I don't select this checkbox. Then scroll down. The only thing we have to select is this one, detailed monitoring. Out of these options, what all we have selected as of now? Have we selected the AMI? Yes. Instance type, purchasing option selected, EBS volume size selected, security group selected, and key pair also selected. Only the leftover thing is detailed monitoring. That is available in the advanced. Where is that? Detailed CloudWatch monitoring. This one. So here you have to select enable. So that instead of 5 minutes, all the data will be collected every 60 seconds, like every 1 minute. Then just scroll down. You can review everything and you can click on create launch template. launch template is ready. You can click on view launch templates and you can check the launch template. And the version is a 1. If you modify something, then the version will become a 2. What all we can modify? We can modify the instance size, we can modify the AMI, you can modify any option which is not available in the launch configuration. If you create a launch configuration, you cannot modify the existing launch configuration. Instead, you have to create a new launch configuration. But here, the launch template will allow you to modify as a different versions. You can select what version to be used and all the things. The next step is creating auto scaling group. Go to the auto scaling groups, the same EC2. Click on create auto scaling group. Auto scaling group name. I will use a name as my WordPress -ASG. What if you have created launch configuration instead of a launch template? You have to click here and you have to select the launch configuration. By default, it will only display the launch templates. If you create a launch configuration, you cannot see here. Instead, you have to go to switch to launch configuration and you can select the launch configuration. Now, which version? We have only one. If you have multiple versions of the template, you can select which version to be used with the auto scaling group. Then you can see all the things, whatever has been selected in the launch template. Then click on next. The next one is you have to select the VPC, subnets, and target groups. Okay, VPC is going to be MyProd VPC, and the web servers to be created in which subnets? Public 1 and public 2. So here you have to select the public 1, public 2. All the instances will be created across these two subnets. Then click on next. Would you like to use a load balancer? Yes. Do we need to create a new load balancer? No, because already we created it. So select attach to an existing load balancer and choose from your load balancer target groups and select your load balancer target group. Whatever the load balancer you are pointing or you would like to use, you have to select the target group of that particular application load balancer. And health check, I don't want to wait for 300 seconds. I would like to check 60 seconds. In the real time, we will go with 300 seconds minimum. Then monitoring, group metric collection within CloudWatch. Not required. Those are optional. Then here, click on next. Group size, desired capacity 2, minimum capacity 2, and maximum capacity 6. Right? Group size, this one. Then when you would like to create a new instance and when you would like to delete instance. So select target tracking policy. You can use some name here. Metric type average CPU utilization, 60 seconds. Instance need 120 seconds warm up. Or you can go with 60 seconds warm up. So it will wait for 60 seconds and then it will be added for in service. If you feel that the system requires minimum 122 minutes to make all the services up and running, you have to mention that time. Default, we will use a 5 minutes. If your server is big and if it has a lot of services, we will increase that to 10 minutes or so. Then click on next. Notification. So I can say WordPress auto scaling. Enter this and then click on next. These are the tags. I would like to use two tags. One is a web server and the second tag is going to be backup. Yes. Click on next. So here you can review everything and click on create auto scaling group. Now, because we are using a SNS, you will receive a subscription confirmation email on the provided email address. So here you must confirm that you must subscribe that particular confirmation email. Otherwise, you are not supposed to receive any notifications from the SNS auto scaling notification. Okay, so it seems not yet received. So it seems I have to make the payment also. I have some pending payments. Did I provide the correct email ID? Okay, so quickly let me go to SNS just to check did I provide the correct email or not. Because immediately we have to receive a subscription confirmation and I haven't received it. Okay, topics. This is the topic. The correct email only, but I haven't received anything. So if you don't see in the inbox, you have to go to the spam. You have to click on confirm subscription. Then you will start receiving the notifications from now. If something notifications already generated, you can't receive them. But from now onwards, you can receive all the notifications. Okay, so now let me go to the instances and you can see two instances are getting created. What is the tag? Web server. And we are assigned two tags, right? What is here? It is only showing the name tag, right? Okay, if you want to see the other tags, select the instance and click on tags. You can see there are a lot of tags, default tags also. These are the two tags which we create. What are the other tags? Auto scaling group name, which launch template used, and what is the launch template version. That is for Amazon's reference. These two are our requirement. Okay, right. So now we will wait for some time. Let these two instances to be up and running. And one more thing, these two must be automatically added to our target group, right? Otherwise, there is of no use by creating these two web servers. To check that, I will go to the target groups. This is the target group. And how many targets are there? Two, and both are healthy. Which means if I go to awslibrary.com, you can see that. This is the default one, right? In which we have only one post. What I do is to access this WordPress as a regular common user, I will use a different browser. I will use a different browser. And I want to modify that as an admin or a WordPress developer or something. So to log in as a admin, you have to use WP-admin at the end. So you can log in as an administrator and you can modify the WordPress application. Generally, that will be done by the developers. So what I do is, what is the username we have given? I think admin, right? I'm logging in and I will create at least 2 or 3 different posts. Some data just to check data consistency and all the things. So this is the admin page. And on the left side, you can see there is one option called post. Click on add new. Just a basic thing we will do. All these things will be done by the developer and they will provide you the pages what to be updated in the server. Okay, so here I can say my first post. That is the title of the post. And I can say welcome to the first post. Then here you can see one option called publish. Publish. The post will be published and how the end users can see your WordPress application is let it be published first, then I can open. That's not related to us. I don't know why we got error. Just we are creating a basic post, right? It's done. Now I would like to add one more post, add new post, or you can click on this WordPress logo. It will go to the home page, like default admin homepage. I will add at least 3 so that we can check the data consistency. And remember, these 3 posts, whatever we are creating, they are not available in the AMI, right? Because AMI was created before adding the data. So if I delete an instance, the AMI will be used to create the new web server. So the AMI cannot provide this data, but still you will get the data. The reason is this data is not maintained in your web server. The data will be available in the database. That is the purpose of multi-tier or two-tier. If you maintain everything in the same server, if the instance got deleted, you will lose the data also. That's why always database will be maintained in a different place. Okay, I can say my second post, and I can say welcome to the second post. Publish. Okay, add new post. You can see here post publish. So my third post. So I modified some data in the application, right? And every user, if they are using some like a WordPress application from the anywhere across the globe, they can see all the data. You can see, right? All the hello world is the default data available on your default application. Now what I do is I don't need this WordPress anymore. I will log out because we added the data. Every second we don't modify your applications, right? Okay. So now something went wrong, and your what we call the one of your web servers got terminated by mistakenly or whatever it is. It got terminated by mistakenly. But as per your auto scaling group, minimum number of instances to be running are 2. Immediately it will identify that one of your instance got terminated, and immediately within 60 seconds a new instance will be created. And these were created at 8:03, right? Later, you might have a question like the the three posts are loading from this existing old server, right? So once the new web server got created, I will delete this web server also. So 2 new EC2 instances will be created, in which, as per our thing, there will be no data available because the 2 servers were created recently using an AMI which was created before adding the data. But as the data is maintained in the database, you will get all the data back. You don't lose any data. Then we will check what if the writer instance or the primary is deleted. So automatically the reader will become a writer. Then what if we delete some data manually? Amazon will never recover the data, right? Because whenever you delete the data, they think that you don't need the data anymore. So how to recover the data using the backtrack feature? I think we enabled backtrack on our database also, right? So the instance got terminated, and you can see the web server already started, right? Let me delete the other web server also, the one which created before adding the data. So again, one more EC2 instance will be created. So for these instance creations, are we getting any notifications that instance got created, a new instance got created in your auto scaling group and all the things? We have to get, we must get. Let me check. Let me refresh. It seems nothing in the inbox. Let me go to the spam. Even in the spam also, we don't have any. We should get actually. Let me check. Is it what we call that? It is confirmed. And how the email will be received is, I will show you the template, how it looks like. If I go to the auto scaling groups, I mean, why the new instance got created? Because the CPU is more than 60, or what is the reason? That you can see here. Click on your auto scaling group, and then you can see an option called activity here. What is the status? Updating capacity. It is updating the capacity. Go to activity, and you can see an instance was launched in response to an unhealthy instance needing to be replaced. Why unhealthy? Because it was shut down. And also here also you can see an instance was launched in response to an unhealthy instance replaced. If it was created because the CPU is more than 60%, you can see the same information over there. Like what we call the desired capacity is not the actual capacity. Like actual capacity is not equal to the desired capacity, and hence the capacity is getting increased from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, that kind of a message. Okay, so let me check that instances got created or not. And all the two web servers are recently created by using the old AMI, and the AMI was created before adding the data into your application, right? So now these two instances are healthy or not? If they are not healthy, nobody can access your application. Take at least 4 minutes of time, right? But instantly we delete it. So how to check the status is, go to the target groups, select your target group, and you can see, don't trust this, just give it a refresh, and then you can see how many are healthy. The one which we created earlier, the one which we created recently, that is still unhealthy because that is not fully up and running. So during this stage, can we access the application without any disconnection and all the things? Yes, because we have one healthy server. All the data is available. Like just do like control F1 so that the data will be loaded from your application, not from your browser's cache. Okay. Now we have a different thing. As an admin, I logged into the database, and by mistakenly I deleted some tables. Now you can see all are healthy. All data got recovered, no data loss because of new web servers created or existing web servers deleted. Now what I do is I will log into the management server, and from the management server I will connect to the database, and I will delete some data. Like I will delete some tables so that the web application cannot display the data. Okay, right. So let me log in first to the management server. So it seems we are unable to log in. What might be the reason? We have to use the VPN. Without VPN, we cannot access any server due to the security restrictions. So here is the OpenVPN Connect. Click on this and enter the password. So now if I click on Connect, I will be able to log in. So now I need to enter the password. Click on yes. So we created 3 new posts, right? Let us check whether the 3 new posts are available in the database or not. The data to be stored in the database, right? Okay, let me refresh. Can you see? This one. Welcome to the first post, welcome to the second post, all the things. What I do is I will delete some random entries. It can break anything. We don't know what is going to break or something. So some important data got deleted from the database, and if someone is trying to access your application, if I do Control F5, what happened? The third post got deleted. Not only the third post, the welcome post, because I deleted those entries. So how to recover the data? Only the option is using the backups of your database. Only using the backups of your database. So if you have an automated backup or a point in time recovery, whatever it is, you can use that to restore your database to a specific time. At what time the data was deleted? Approximately at 8:17 p.m. or so, right? At 8:17 p.m. or so. So if I'm able to restore my database back to the 8:16 p.m., I can get all my data back. So we are going to perform a backtrack on our Aurora database instance. How to do that? Go to the RDS and we will do a backtrack. Also, we missed that part, right? What if the writer instance got deleted? There should not be any downtime, right? Automatically, all the data will be loaded from the reader. I mean, the reader will become a writer with a new writer. That also we will verify. Okay, so here go to the databases, select the cluster, actions, and here you can see an option called backtrack. Click on backtrack, and we decided to backtrack it to 8:16, right? Okay, 8:16. 8 in the sense, what is the time? 20, 60. Click on backtrack. Now it is backtracking your database to 8:16 p.m. 8 hours, 16 minutes, 3 seconds. That is what we selected. Don't trust this. If you refresh, you can see the status as a backtracking. Even if you can't see, just do a Control F5. In the backend, it is doing backtracking, which will take some time. It will not done within 1 second or 2 seconds. You can see the status backtracking. So you have to wait until the backtracking is complete. Then you can get all the data back. We deleted two different posts, right? One is a welcome post and the second one is a third post. You can get all the data back. So while it is backtracking, if I try to access, what will happen? Already the data got recovered, but it is finalizing the backtracking process. See here, the default hello world post and the third post. But here you can see sometime that the status is backtracked. It will finalize, it will verify everything is restored properly or not, and all the things. So this is how we can recover the data if any data got deleted accidentally from your database. Now your web servers are pointing to this instance, right? What if this instance got terminated by mistake? Reader will become a writer, but as we have used writer endpoint, automatically your data will be accessible from the new writer. Whatever the endpoint we have used, I mean, in the WordPress configuration, we haven't used the individual endpoint, right? We have used the clusters writer endpoint. What it will do is, always the request will be forwarded to the database instance, whichever is the writer. Right now, this is a writer, so all the data will be accessible from here. And if it is not available and if it became a reader, then all the data will be written and read from this instance. That is also we will verify. So now it is available, right? I will delete the writer instance. I will delete the writer instance. And the reader will become a writer. What if the last writer also got deleted? We'll lose the data. So whenever you don't have a multi-AZ deployment, then immediately you have to create one more reader. This was accidentally deleted, right? But Amazon won't create a new reader automatically. The job of Amazon is to make the reader as a writer. What if the final instance also deleted from your cluster? Your database will be deleted. That's why we have to add a new reader. Now it is getting deleted, right? Can we access the data? Yes. Whenever the Amazon RDS is unable to perform a read actions for 2 times continuously, immediately the health will be unhealthy and the reader will become a writer. During the deletion process, continuously you can check Control F5 and you never expect error. Continuously until the reader will become a writer. Without any downtime, the reader will become a writer. See here. Now we can get that. And now for the high availability, this is not a highly available because we have only one instance in one availability zone. To make it highly available, you have to create a new reader. You have to create a new reader in the cluster. You can use any name, like you can use a reader 1, reader 2, or a secondary instance or a standby instance, whatever the name is, but the status is going to be a reader. So I can say reader 2, not publicly available. I am selecting 1B. You cannot change the port number. Always while creating, you have to select the availability zone other than the existing instance. It is running in 1A, so I selected 1. Now, once it got created, again your database is multi-AZ. Okay. And if I delete this one, automatically the reader 2 will become a writer. The moment once the reader 2 got created, all the data will be replicated from the current writer instance to the reader instance. That is also we have to check, right? If a new reader got created, does the data will be replicated or not? How to confirm that or how to verify? Once the database reader 2 got created, the status is available, I will delete the writer instance so that the reader 2 will become a writer. And if you are able to see all the data in the web application, we can say that all the data got replicated. That's how we can configure. Okay, so while they are getting created, what we do is the final thing is we have to configure CloudWatch dashboard. You have a lot of instances, right? But I want to create a dashboard where I would like to check the database performance, CPU utilization of the entire group of web servers, everything. So the process is the same, but the thing is what kind of metrics you are going to select. That information will be visible. Okay. So while they are getting created, I will go to the CloudWatch and I will create a dashboard and I will add some widgets to monitor the WordPress application related things. I don't want to monitor VPN. I don't as WordPress. Create dashboard. Okay, first thing I would like to create one widget for database. What is the read latency? What is the write latency? Read operations, write operations. That part I would like to check. So click on plus, line, matrix. Okay, here. So database is RDS. Go to the RDS. Database cluster. I would like to monitor based on the database cluster. We have Aurora cluster, right? Okay. What is the name? What is our cluster name? My WordPress DB. So whatever we are seeing here, this was the old one which we created in the RDS session. Okay, so now let me scroll down. Okay, here it is. Okay, my WordPress team. What all I would like to monitor are database connections. I would like to monitor how many database connections are there, and then there are a lot of metrics which is not required. Just you have to select what exactly you would like to monitor. Then here, login failures, generally not required because this is not publicly available. Queries, how many queries are there? How many queries are happening? Insert throughput. What is the latency for the insert queries? And commit latency. Generally, commit latency is the important, like what is the latency for storing the data? And then here, read latency, write latency, CPU utilization. What is the CPU utilization? What is the free memory? Free memory on your database RDS. And what is the latency for the select query? If something is getting select query is executing, what is the latency? Okay, let us go with those things. Let me click on create widget. Now it is getting created. So how to check that, like how it is visible is, if you want to check something about the database, you can open the widget and you can see there are a lot of things, right? So here, if you see the CPU utilization, what is the CPU utilization? Minimum is a 12.439, maximum is 15, average is 12. But the problem here is we have selected different metrics. CPU is in percentage, right? And memory is in GBs. Latency will be in the seconds. That's why you cannot see the graphs in a proper way. You cannot see the graphs in a proper way. If you hover a mouse here at 1356 UTC, free memory is that one. 1.3 GB free memory is available. CPU utilization is 12.5%. Select latency is 3.5. I think it might be milliseconds. If you use a proper way, like only the few things, what I can do is you can create a separate widget for everything also. Let me go with that one. Delete. I will create a first widget. So what we call that line metric. Whatever we have selected, the same thing I will do again, but with a different widgets. If you want to check the CPU, you have to select the widget. I tried everything to be accommodated in a single widget, but the lines, the graph is not properly visible. That's why I will go with in a different way. Let me go to the two for WordPress, right? Okay, let me go to the third page. Okay, CPU utilization. And here I will select 1 minute. 1 minute window, create widget. It will display the CPU utilization of your Aurora database cluster. Add one more thing, in which we are going to select what we call that the latency. Read latency, write latency, all the latencies are in the seconds, right? So the latency related things we can create a single widget. Database cluster identifier. Let me go to the third page. So here, delete latency, commit latency, update latency, read, write. Like whatever you need, just you can select everything. Create widget. Now you can see the proper format, right? You can see all the graphs and everything in a meaningful way. Let me open it because everything is in seconds. Latency is calculated in seconds. If I open this, I can see the delete latency. That is unit is milliseconds. You can see in that label, right? Unit is milliseconds. So what is the delete latency? It is taking 2 milliseconds latency. And read latency, almost 0.00 something, 0.002 second latency. Insert latency, it is going to be 1.67. What is that insert? We create some data and if click on publish, right? Then the data will be updated into the database. It is taking a minimum 1.6 milliseconds and maximum it is taking 4.7 milliseconds, less than 1 second. At the same time, you can see select latency. Select latency means whenever the user is loading the page, accessing the application, the data will be loaded from your database. It will execute a select query. What is the latency? Maximum latency is like at some point 4.5 milliseconds, more than 4.5. The minimum is about like 1.4, which is recent. Okay, let me click on close. If you want to check the CPU utilization of your database, you can open that and you can see what is the CPU utilization. At some point, it was about like 24% or so. I think at that time we accessed the application multiple times, so that the CPU will go somewhat high. In the same way, you can create a memory and all the things. Now, I want to check the load balancer related metrics also. Load balancer related metrics. So we have to add one more widget. Click on plus, line. Simple thing, whatever you would like to monitor, you have to add a widget for that. So here, application ELB, target group. So what is our target group? My WordPress TG, right? Request count per target. Let me add that. What it is? Okay. Not average. We have to select sum. So it will calculate all requests in the 5 minutes window. So at some point, 56 times that request has been sent to each target. It's average. And then it was dropped down to like 17, 18, and now at this time 0. At this particular point of time at 15, 3, which means 23. At 8:33, nobody accessed the application. That's why there are 0 request count per target. Instead of a target group, you can select like load balancer related also. Same way, like go to the line metrics. So select the application ELB per app ELB metrics. What all we can monitor here is request count on the load balancer, not on the target group. How many requests received by your load balancer, and what is the new connection count in the last 1 minute, and a target response time. Everything you can select. Generally, we will monitor the response time because it should respond quickly, right? It should not wait a lot of time and all the things. I think this is not our target group, right? This is the one. My WordPress. This is our target group. So where is that target response time? Let me go to the graphed metrics. Not average. Yeah, we can go with average. Period. 1 minute. Click on create widget. So what is that average thing? At this point, At some point it took like 2.3 seconds as a response time, average response time, and at here it was 0.5 seconds, it is like 0.7 seconds, and so on. If you go with some, you can see a different metrics. Some in the sense, in the 1 minute, let us say if there are 1,000 people try, and each time it took 1 second. So 1,000 people, 1 second, it should be 1,000 seconds. So some is not the good thing to monitor. Average is the monitor, or we can go with maximum. At some point, the maximum delay is 12 seconds, which is not good, but later it was settled down at like 0 point something. At particular point, the target response time is 12 seconds. At particular point, then it was dropped down to 0 point, less than 1 second. That is a good thing, less than 1 second. Okay. Now, at the same time, if you want to monitor the CPU utilization of your web service, then because now we have two instances. After a few days, two more instances will be added, right? How to do that is based on auto scaling group, not based on individual EC2 instance. How to do that is, let me click on plus, same way, but what metric we have to select? Metrics. So here, go to the EC2 because auto scaling is also a part of EC2 by auto scaling group. What is our auto scaling group name? My WordPress dash something, right? Okay, it seems only one page. Yeah, here it is. My WordPress ASG CPU utilization. Click on create widget. Okay, so what it is displaying here is average CPU utilization for on 5 minutes. But on which instance? We have a 2. It is a average CPU utilization of all the servers in that particular auto scaling group. We have a 2 instances, right? The average CPU utilization of both the servers is, at this point, it is like 79%. It is about like 79%. If that continues for more than 1 minute, then automatically a new instance will be created in your auto scaling group. It will check the CPU utilization of both the servers, and if the average is more than 60%, then a new instance will be created. That's an automated process. See here, how many are there? 5 web servers. Why? Because the CPU is more than we configure for 60, right? And once the CPU settled down, automatically the new instances will be deleted. Okay. Right. So then once we create the dashboard, you can see the CPU utilization is like 28%. So you can observe, if you wait for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you can observe the deletion also. Why we have to wait for 10 minutes is, in the load balancer, there is a connection drain out time. By default is a 300 seconds. In the load balancer session we have seen, right? So it will wait 300 seconds before deleting any target from the target group. So it will terminate it after 5 minutes. So you have to wait minimum 10 to 15 minutes of time. So you can observe all the instances will be deleted and just 2 instances will be run. That will take minimum like what we call that 5 minutes. You can see termination for group, the one which we created, we deleted manually, right? Because of that, the new instance got created. It took some delay. So here there are 3 notifications. What are those notifications are? An instance was launched in response to an unhealthy instance needing to be replaced. This is at what time? 29 minutes ago, the one which we deleted manually. And then just 10 minutes ago, what was the message? An instance was started in response to a difference between the desired and actual capacity, increasing the capacity from 2 to 3. 2 to 3, then 3 to 4. then 4 to 5. Even you can see that also. It might take some time, but you will receive that email also. Okay, and these are the instances. How many instances are there? One, two, three, four only, not five. Only four created. That's why you can see 3 to 4. Then the CPU drop down. Now the instances will be started getting deleted. And how to verify that it identified that the CPU is less? Go to the auto scaling groups. There you can observe the current instances are 4. Desired capacity is also 4. It is not yet updated because we configured with average CPU of 5 minutes, right? So right now the CPU is 100 and then it is 0, then average will be 50%. So it will take 5 minutes of time. That depends on your configuration. What is the data points and all the things. Okay, so here in the activity, you can check everything what is happening. 2 to 3, 3 to 4. The fifth instance was not created because the CPU dropped down to the less than 60%. Still, it is less than 60. So if you wait for some time, automatically that will be deleted. And on RDS, we already configured the backups. For EC2, backups are not required because everything is backed up as an AMI and we are not storing any data. If you need backups of your EC2 instances, you can use a lifecycle policy. Okay, right? This is how we can create. Everything is the same. It can be any application. The entire architecture will be the same. The only difference is whatever the applications you are installing in the temporary server, that might be different. But the architecture is different. And the one more difference might be the database engine. Instead of MySQL, they might ask you to create a different one. Apart from that, the infrastructure will be the same. Okay. So any questions on this? So we are done with this. So just try to start creating this infrastructure. So if you have any questions, just you can ask me about your error or issue, whatever you are facing. But if there is a specific error message, just take the screenshot and send the screenshot to me so that will be easy for me to understand what exactly the problem. Okay. If you don't create a NAT gateway, and if you're creating the management server in the private subnet, then you cannot download the SQLio Community Edition because the management server don't get the internet. So at least you have to create a NAT instance. NAT instance stereo.micro free. So no charges for your NAT instance. Okay. So if you guys are clear, we will see how to clean up this because we have created a lot of services which are not free tier, right? So once you're done with the practice, we should know how to clean up the things. So before proceeding with the cleanup, are you guys clear or any questions? Okay. So whatever we have created, the same thing we have to delete in a reverse order. What was the latest one we created? The dashboards. Even the dashboards are not free, right? I think 2 dashboards free. If you don't have multiple, but always it is recommended to delete. Go to CloudWatch and select the dashboard. Delete the dashboard. Then what was the previous one we created? Auto scaling, right? Okay, go to the auto scaling. Can I delete the launch template? So in the auto scaling part, which one we created first? Auto scaling group. Okay, because if you delete the EC2 instances manually, automatically the instances will be created. So first thing, you have to go to the auto scaling group, select your auto scaling group and click on delete. Confirm by typing delete. So what will happen now? What is the status? What is the desired capacity? And there is a difference between the actual capacity and desired capacity. So they will try to match the actual capacity with the desired capacity. When it will be equal? If the number of instances are 0, right? So automatically the instances will be deleted after 300 seconds because of application load balancer drain out time. Okay. Once you're done with this, you have to go to the launch template, launch templates, select your launch template, actions, delete template. Done. Then temporary instance. Already we deleted, right? Before temporary instance, what we have done? AMI. AMI. Okay. So go to the AMI, select the AMI, actions, deregister. But later also you can deregister. But if you go in an order, you don't miss anything. And whenever you deregister the AMI, you have to delete the associated snapshot. This is the one. Select the snapshot, actions, and delete. Then load balancer, right? Okay. So can I delete the target group first? It is the target group, right? Can I delete the target group first? No, because load balancer's listener is using this target group. Even the creation of load balancer, first we create the target group and then we create the load balancer. While you are deleting, you have to go in a reverse order. First, you have to delete the load balancer and then the target group. So select the load balancer, select actions, and delete load balancer. And type confirm. Click on delete. Then delete the target groups. Select the target group. Actions, delete. Yes, delete. So just wait for 1 or 2 minutes because still they're considering that the load balancer is available in your account, but no load balancer. Just give like 1 or 2 minutes and refresh the page and try to delete the target group. But anyways, the target group is not chargeable, but I recommend to clean it up. See here, just give it a refresh and delete it. Then after target group, what we have to delete? So while we are creating before target group, what component we created? I think VPN, right? VPN. Okay, let me open the document. After load balancer, database. Let us delete the database also. RDS. Go to the RDS. How to delete? Select the reader first, just to save the time. If I delete the writer, then reader will become a writer. I have to wait. Then again, I have to delete the new writer. Now the reader is getting deleted. Let me delete the writer also. I don't need any final snapshot. I acknowledge. Type delete me. In any order you can delete. But if you delete the first writer, the reader will become a writer. Then you have to wait for some time and you have to delete. Once you delete all instances behind a cluster, automatically the cluster will be deleted. Okay. Then after database, what? Key page. From where we can delete the key page? In the EC2, go to the key page. Select your key page. Actions, delete. Type delete. Okay, then security groups. But what I do is while we delete the VPC, automatically the security groups will be deleted. Right? Okay. So that's why I will skip it. Then VPN server. But the problem, the one thing you have to remember is whenever you delete the VPN server, it has associated with an elastic IP, right? So you have to release that also. You can release after terminating it, but once you terminate, you have to wait for few minutes of time. Then only you can release it. So to not to wait for that time, first I will release the elastic IP. I mean, disassociate. Select the elastic IP. Open VPN. Disassociate, which means I'm disconnecting from the VPN server, but still in my account. Now I'm eligible for charges. Select that, release, release. I will show you why I am releasing it first or disassociating it first. With the NAT gateway, I will show you. Even after deleting the NAT gateway, instantly you cannot release the elastic IP of the NAT gateway, because in the back end, the information will be available as that elastic IP is associated with the NAT gateway for the next 5 minutes of time. So just to not to wait for the 5 minutes, I first disassociated for the EC2 instance and then I deleted the EC2 instance. But NAT gateway, you cannot disassociate. First, you have to delete the NAT gateway. Okay, let us delete that VPN server. Open VPN, instance state, terminate. Then management server also to be deleted, right? Instance state, terminate. And you can observe that all the web servers got terminated. We haven't terminated the manual. And then what is the next one? Subnets. Subnets can be automatically deleted once you are deleting the VPC. The NAT gateway, right? To delete the NAT gateway, you have to go to the VPC. And here it is a NAT gateway. Select the NAT, go to the NAT gateway service. Select the NAT gateway, actions, delete NAT gateway. Still the state is deleted. So you have to wait until the NAT gateway got deleted. Then you have to release the elastic IP. Until the NAT gateway got deleted, you cannot delete the VPC also. Then directly we can delete the VPC and the internet gateway will be automatically deleted. NAT gateway, if the NAT gateway is running, you cannot delete the VPC. Still it is getting deleted and the public IP is 3.210, right? Just I'm going to elastic IP. This is the one. If I try to release, cannot be released with association IDs because that is associated with still the NAT gateway. That's about management server that got disconnected. Okay, what is the status of the NAT gateway? Still it is deleting. You have to wait. So we will wait for some time and then we can delete the VPC also. How to delete a VPC? Go to your VPCs, select your VPC, actions, delete VPC. But it's showing like there are some network interfaces are running. Like one is your might be VPN server, one is might be NAT gate. See here, VPN server got terminated and it's trying to connect with your VPN, but which cannot connect. Okay, so let me check what is happening with your databases. They will be automatically deleted. So deleting, no need to worry. Okay, let me go to EC2. NAT gateways. What is the status? Deleted. So can we release the elastic IP? We have to release, but sometimes it will take a few minutes of time. Still in the backend, in the configuration page, it will identify that the elastic IP is associated with the NAT gate. If you are unable to delete, just wait for 2 minutes, then you can delete it. It seems it is already updated. That's why you can get associate option. Release, release. Yes, done. If you don't get this thing, just refresh the page or wait for 2 minutes. But you have to wait until the NAT gateway got deleted. Okay. It seems everything is deleted. Let me check the EC2 instances also, like every instance got deleted or not. Yes. Now let us delete the VPC. Go to your VPCs, select the VPC, actions, delete VPC. Still it is showing something is running. What might be it is? Okay, whatever it is, let me click here. Let us check what network interface it is. I suspect that might be the VPN server thing. Not security group. That means it is associated with some interface, right? And for the same interface, this is a security group attached, which means the network interface is your RDS instance network interface. Still, your RDS is not deleted, right? It is in the progress. That's why it is considering that the network interface of the RDS is still exist in your VPC. So you have to wait until the RDS is deleted, because still that is not yet deleted completely. So you have to wait until this got deleted. Once it got deleted, the network interface related to your Aurora cluster will be removed. Definitely it will take a lot of time, like 10 minutes or 15 minutes of time to completely delete the database instance. Later, you can delete the VPC. VPC is not chargeable, right? But NAT gateway is chargeable. So you can wait for 10 to 15 minutes and then you can clean up. Delete the VPC. Okay. So, any questions? Any questions on this? Okay. So try to start deploying this infrastructure. Instead of this application, you can take any application, that doesn't matter. But the difference will be the softwares which has to be installed in your EC2 instances. Okay, so just come up with questions for the tomorrow session. So if you have any questions, we can take up those questions, or otherwise we can go with some sample questions, like how the questions looks like in a certification exam. I will share some PDFs, but there are some theory, straightforward questions and scenario-based questions. In the next session, whenever we discuss about the practice questions, I will only consider scenario-based questions, because straight questions you can read and you can get the answer at the end of the document with explanation. So we will see the scenario-based questions to understand how to analyze the question and what is the exact requirement and how to get the correct answer. Okay, right. First thing, we will go with your questions on this deployment, and if everyone is clear, then we can go with those questions. Okay. Right. Any questions? Anybody having any questions? Okay, so if you guys are clear, let us stop the session. Let us continue tomorrow with the questions on this deployment. Okay, right. Thank you, everyone. We'll continue tomorrow.